Why are Slasher and 2011X from Outcome Memories so non-beginner friendly? Or so they seem anyways. Or on the contrary, are they too beginner friendly? Are they just too overpowered for starter killers? Or are they perfect? Which we know that isn't true, but are they? I mean, we haven't even reviewed them yet, which is what we're about to get to. Now, as starter killers, I wouldn't say any of these have anything necessarily wrong with them, but as players, well, starting with 2011X, after several shadow nerfs and simply players adapting to their characters with time, 2011X quickly became one of the most hated experiences to play, both for new players and old, simply because he was underpowered and his kit was designed for single target against what is usually a stacked team. And to make matters worse, the disable EXE button only added to the animosity. Most lobbies are full of disable EXE. 2011X's kit has 4 abilities. The first is a charge ability, which takes a few seconds to charge up, then he will grab and slowly deal damage to whoever he grabbed. And in the past, it could be a near death sentence ability or a death sentence ability for anyone bad at the minigame or simply caught away from their team. But the problem with an ability like that for 2011X is teams group together. He's a single target killer with abilities built for single target in a game where it's semi-survivor sided and heavily survivor sided if they're in a group, which 95% of the time they are in a group. Anyways, his second ability is God's Trickery. It's pretty simple. He'll use it, he'll teleport to whoever he hits, and the rest will either get blinded or dodge the ability. Honestly, I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with this ability specifically. Honestly, if I'm being real, I'd say it's about the only perfect ability in his kit. And I'd also say Charge is perfect if it weren't for its imperfect abilities. 2011X's third ability is Invisibility. Invisibility actually wouldn't be bad and isn't bad necessarily, but it is, especially after the shadow nerf that happened to it. It's a good ability for dodging after you've used your rage, but if you're having to dodge a ton after using rage, meaning you haven't killed a lot of people, you've likely already lost that round anyways. 2011X's fourth ability is Rage, as I was just talking about. This increases his damage 10 plus and also increases his speed and reduces his stun time, making him a lot harder to hold down. And honestly, I'd say this is perfect. This is the exact kind of ability 2011X needs, especially when he's getting beat down the whole match. If 2011X didn't have Rage, he'd literally be unusable. The second shadow nerf to 2011X was his hitbox, and arguably the worst shadow nerf, simply because his hitbox shrunk from a circle to a square. The problem with it shrinking from a circle to a square is you could be nearly right up on somebody and not be able to hit them. It makes them juking a lot or almost too easy and makes you hitting too hard. Sorry if I sound a little quiet. I was inadvertently rolling back in my chair. Anyways, it is nearly impossible to catch any of the speed characters with this new hitbox. And I say nearly because I'm not going to sit here and act like it's impossible. It's not impossible. But because his hitbox shrunk so much, Amy with her speed cards or Sonic can semi-easily get away because of their speed. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, it's Sonic. He should be the fastest thing alive. But Amy isn't. Why is Amy the second fastest thing alive? And yeah, technically she's not. Technically you could give that to Metal or even Eggman's speed boost thing. But we're not talking about either of them, even though they can both be very major problems to 2011X. I'd say what killed 2011X wasn't necessarily the nerfs. It wasn't necessarily... Actually, the nerfs played a huge part. But what really killed him was players adapting. You see, the game's been out for like 2 or 3 months now, I believe. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. It's been out for 2 or 3 months. So it's no real surprise that by now everyone's nearly adapted to his kit. Nobody's really surprised by the God's Trickery move anymore, or the charge anymore. It's not scary anymore. It doesn't make people panic. And I know that's not necessarily a developer fault, and that's just people are got used to it, you know. Hell, people will get used to Colossus eventually, and Fleetway eventually. But the problem is that they nerfed the only killer in the game 3 times. These nerfs would have made sense after 2.0. Anyways, moving on to Slasher slash Jason of Forsaken. In my opinion, Slasher is a really good starter killer. Kind of. See, it doesn't take a genius to see the problem with his kit compared to others. For starters, Slasher has 1250 health and walks at 9 speed. And he runs at 98. At his 98. I'm tired, you can tell. He runs at 28 at his maximum speed. His first ability is a slash. It has a short cooldown. It's similar to 2011 X's swing. It's the basic killer swing, honestly. There's not much to say about it. It causes bleed for a little bit, but there's not much else to say about it. His second ability is Beheaded, and arguably one of his best abilities. Not necessarily because it does a ton of damage, but because it can slow down the survivor heavily with helplessness and cause slowness to yourself and the survivor. His third move is Gashing Wound, which is a combination of slashes that can cause a ton of damage. I'm not entirely sure if I've hit this move yet or not. I mean, I believe when I played him, which should be the footage playing in the background currently, that I did hit the move, but honestly, I can't remember right now. I'm tired. Ability is Rage. Rage is honestly really good. I mean, it's similar to 2011 X's Rage. It basically lowers all his cooldowns, increases his speed and damage. There's not much else to say about his Rage. But here's where we get into the real meat of the problem for Outcome Memories versus Forsaken. And no, this is not unnecessary Forsaken Glaze. Honestly, I prefer Outcome Memories a ton more. The reason I don't say that Jason is unusable or too weak because he doesn't have any range compared to the other killers in the game is because Jason's melee brother, I'm stuttering. Jason's melee hits and melee moves are enough to easily get a kill. He's not so underpowered to where it's like, oh my goodness, I can't pick off this next person or whatever. Whilst with Outcome Memories, you can be picking at someone for 5 years and not get a kill. Simply because it could be Amy with her heals, or they could have gotten saved by Metal Sonic and then Cream healed them. The point is, even if you have Rage with Metal Sonic versus with Jason, while with Metal Sonic, I feel like it's a bigger stark difference in stats and feeling, but even so, it's not enough to be a good team. It really isn't. 2011 X's moveset isn't bad, but once people adapted to his moveset and it got nerfed multiple times, it made playing him redundant, boring even. The most fun I've had on him is with VC, and even then I'm still getting my ass kicked. While it's with Jason, I can kill a whole team relatively easily, which is honestly a bad thing. It shouldn't be too easy, is what I'm saying. It shouldn't be killer-sided versus survivor-sided. You know, because Outcome Memories is heavily survivor-sided, while Forsaken is nearly the complete opposite. It's not really survivor-sided, it's more so killers-sided. But to summarize, is that Jason, or Slasher, is honestly a good killer. Not necessarily an all-rounder, but good enough to be fun and playable currently. While it's with 2011X, it's literally the complete opposite. This is not real shade to either developers, honestly. I still love Outcome Memories, and I still have plenty of fun playing it. But I will say we are going through a drought right now with how 2011X is moving. Anyways, this was my take on both killers. I hope you all enjoyed and have a great rest of your day or night. Good night and bye.